Hello everyone. In continuation of our chapter Indian economy on the eve of independence, yesterday we discussed about especially about agricultural sector. Now the second sector is industrial sector. So industrial sector on the eve of independence. So what kind of changes company made in this particular sector? Without the industry we cannot imagine about the development of the nation. So company changed so many things in India. We will discuss it point wise. There are 10 points in this. Number 1, company practice twofold policy. Twofold policy, first it is related with import and export. Company always transferred Indian raw material to England where they converted all the raw materials into a valuable products, finished product to sell in Indian market because Indian market was huge market. And number two, they imported machineries, final products from Europe, from England to earn profit. So this is twofold policy. One is export and another is import. In both the thing, India had loss because they purchased raw materials at very cheap rate and they converted raw material into valuable product and sell in Indian market at huge price. So this twofold policy was very humiliating policy for Indian economy. This was not good policy. Number two, tariff policy. Company imposed tax on Indian goods when they sold to company or other countries, but tariff free export was there on raw material. When company transferred raw material, there was no tax. This was tariff free export. But when they import Indian imports, there was tax. But there was no tax on British goods. So this was also a very exploiting thing for Indian economy. Number three, decay of handicrafts. Our handicraft products were very popular. I have already told you. But this industry lost its status. ब्रिटिश टाइम में उस इंडस्ट्री का बहुत लॉस हुआ. Fourth point, disappearance of princely courts. We all know growth of industry always depends on local patronage. If local patronage means care करने वाला कोई local level पे, if there is no local patronage, we cannot imagine the growth of anything. बिना लोकल पैट्रोनेज के ग्रोथ नहीं हो सकती. नेक्स्ट फिफ्थ पॉइंट, competition with machinery. Britishers used machineries for production, but we were unable. Indian industrialists were unable to compete with British machineries. So this was the negative point for us, for our economy. Next point is new pattern of demands. Now in taste of Indian people had been changed. Some people liked British taste, so they demanded, they liked British goods, British products. Next one is introduction of railway. Railway had been railway different railway tracks were set up by the company to transfer goods very fast from one place to another place. ये भी कंपनी ने अपने प्रॉफिट के लिए ही सेटअप किए थे ताकि उनको जल्दी से जल्दी ज़्यादा प्रॉफिट हो जाए. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज लैक ऑफ कैपिटल गुड्स इंडस्ट्रीज. इंडिया में उस समय कैपिटल गुड्स इंडस्ट्रीज नहीं थी. कैपिटल गुड्स इंडस्ट्री, capital goods are being used for further production to obtain huge production. So capital goods were not there in India. Next, slow growth of modern industries. Modern industries means basic industries were there. Main industry, cotton industry, jute industries were there, but some latest or modern industries were not there in India. So there was very slow growth of modern industry. And the last point in this sector, industrial sector, lower contribution of GDP to GDP. GDP, its full form is gross domestic product, and there was very less contribution. Sorry, there was very less contribution in country's GDP. Our production was not good, not much as used, so that we found high GDP. So this is all about the industrial sector. You may see, you may understand that some points are good for country, good for Indian economy, and some were very bad. At last, we will discuss some positive aspects during the colonial period. Next sector is foreign trade on the eve of independence. Foreign trade, trade with different countries, trade with other parts of the world. So, what kind of changes company made? This first point is restrictive policy. Selected products had been transferred from India to other parts of the world, and that had been decided by the company only. Number two, exporter of raw materials and importer of finished good. This we have already discussed in previous कि रॉ मटेरियल्स जो है इंडिया से ब्रिटेन जाते थे, वहाँ से फिनिश्ड और वैल्यूएबल प्रोडक्ट बनकर वापस से इंडियन मार्केट में आते थे और वहाँ कंपनी उससे बहुत ह्यूज प्रॉफिट लेती थी. बट दिस मेड इंडियन इकोनॉमी वेरी बैकवर्ड एंड स्टेगनेंट. Number three, monopolistic control. Monopolistic control, especially on export and import. This is due to opening of Suez Canal. You know, canal is there between Red Sea and Caspian Sea, just northern part of Africa. It opened in the year 1869. So Britishers came through this canal in India. They entered, they transferred raw materials through this way. It reduced approximately 7,000 kilometer distance. Before the opening of this canal, they turned the entire Africa to enter in India. So there was a monopoly of British East India Company on export and import. Number four, foreign trade was restricted. It was restricted to British country. 50% products, more than 50% were sold to Britain only, and rest business trade with China, Ceylon, now it is Sri Lanka, and third country is Persia. At present, it is called Iran. Next point in foreign trade, use export surplus. You know, this export surplus lay to drain Indian wealth, entire Indian wealth, especially food grains, clothes, textiles, kerosenes, etc. And these surplus money was used in making payments for expenditure of British East India Company, for the expenditure of offices set up by the company. And when they fought battle with other countries, they used this huge export surplus. And the last point is payment for invisible services. Some such services were invisible in contemporary India, especially shipping, communication, transports. So British East India Company developed all these things, means of transport, means of communications, और इसके लिए कंपनी पेमेंट जो है इसी ह्यूज सरप्लस से निकालती थी, एक्सपोर्ट सरप्लस से. So these all points are related with the foreign trade, sector 3. So till now we have discussed three sectors: agriculture, industry, and foreign trade. Now demographic transition and occupational structure is left. We will discuss it in next slide. Thank you very much to all of you, and good day.